A few months ago, my friends and I decided to take a road trip. We wanted to explore some small towns, hit the open road, and just have fun. It was supposed to be a weekend adventure, nothing out of the ordinary, but I'll never forget what happened that night. We were driving down this long, empty highway. It was pitch black, and we hadn't seen another car for miles. The road was surrounded by trees on both sides, so it felt like we were driving through a tunnel of darkness. It was eerie, but we weren't too bothered. We just turned up the music and kept driving. At around midnight, we noticed something strange. There was a car up ahead, parked on the side of the road with its hazard lights on. As we got closer, we could see a man standing next to the car, waving at us to stop. Should we pull over? My friend Jake asked from the driver's seat. I wasn't sure. It didn't feel right. Something about the situation just seemed off. I don't know. Maybe we should keep driving, I said, my gut telling me to be cautious. But Jake, being the nice guy he is, slowed down. What if he needs help? It's the middle of nowhere, he said, glancing over at me. Reluctantly, we pulled over a few feet ahead of the stranded car. The man jogged up to our window, his face barely visible in the glow of our headlights. He looked rough, dirty clothes, messy hair, and an uneasy expression. Hey, sorry to bother you, but my car broke down. Do you think you could give me a ride to the nearest gas station? He asked, his voice sounding a little shaky. Something about him felt wrong, like he was hiding something. I glanced at my friends, trying to gauge their reactions. Jake looked ready to help, but my friend Sarah, sitting in the back, looked just as uneasy as I felt. Where's the nearest gas station? Jake asked, still trying to be polite. It's just a few miles up the road, the man said quickly, but his eyes darted to the back of his car as if he was nervous. That's when I noticed it. There was movement behind his car, just a quick shadow, like someone was crouched down. My heart skipped a beat. I leaned over and whispered to Jake, something's not right. Let's get out of here. Jake hesitated, but then he saw it too, a figure creeping around the back of the man's car. Sorry, man, we're in a bit of a hurry, Jake said, quickly rolling up the window and putting the car in gear. Before the man could say anything, we sped off, leaving him standing there in the dark. My hands were shaking, and my heart was pounding in my chest. Did you guys see that? There was someone else hiding behind the car, I said, my voice barely steady. Yeah, I saw it, Sarah said, her voice trembling. What the hell was that? We drove in silence for a while, still trying to process what had just happened. But then, a few minutes later, we noticed something else. A pair of headlights in the distance coming up fast behind us. Is that him? Sarah asked, her voice filled with panic. Jake glanced in the rearview mirror. I don't know, but he's catching up. The car behind us sped up, closing the gap between us. Jake hit the gas, trying to put some distance between us, but the car kept getting closer. Whoever it was, they were tailing us. What do they want? I asked, my voice shaking. Why are they following us? I don't know, but we're not sticking around to find out, Jake said, his knuckles white as he gripped the steering wheel. We were flying down the highway now, but the car behind us stayed right on our tail. It felt like a nightmare, like we were being hunted. I kept looking over my shoulder, trying to see who was driving, but the headlights were blinding. Take the next exit, Sarah shouted, pointing to a small road that veered off into the trees. Jake swerved onto the exit, the tires screeching as we raced down the narrow road. The car behind us followed, still right on our tail. This road doesn't go anywhere, I yelled, realizing we were driving deeper into the woods, away from the main highway. We're gonna get stuck out here, but Jake didn't stop. He kept driving, desperate to lose them. The road twisted and turned through the dense trees, and eventually we couldn't see the headlights anymore. We had lost them, at least for the moment. Jake pulled over, and we all sat there in stunned silence, trying to catch our breath. What the hell just happened? Sarah asked, her voice barely a whisper. I don't know, Jake said, shaking his head, but something tells me that guy wasn't really stranded. We waited a few more minutes before deciding to turn around and head back to the highway. As we drove, we kept looking over our shoulders, half expecting the car to come out of nowhere again. But the road was empty. We never saw the man or the car again. When we got home, we looked up the area we had driven through. It turns out there had been reports of people being lured off the highway by fake broken-down cars, only to be robbed, or worse. To this day, I still wonder what would have happened if we had let that man into our car. Would we have made it out alive? We'll never know. But one thing's for sure, I'm never stopping for anyone on a dark road again.